Welcome to Kruk and Kuip Extra Innings, NFL edition, and offseason news for the Giants on this Sunday. You can follow me. Follow me on social media. And we'll start off with Giants news for this week. The Giants have made some reassignments with the assistants on staff. Next year, Ron Wotus will be reassigned to being the third base coach. You are going to see Hensley Mullins is being moved from hitting coach to bench coach. And Phil Nevin, is out of a job after this week's changes. What it means, unfortunately, is Bruce Bochy is on the hot seat, and I guess they value highly on Hensley Mullins. At this point, you got to feel bad for Ron Wotus, and it might be time for Wotus to move on from the Giants. And Bochy, if things don't start well next year, I wouldn't totally be surprised if they part ways. See what happens with that. But now with sabermetrics becoming part of the baseball culture, you're going to see a lot more analytics being used for managers when it comes to hiring and firing. And if Bochy doesn't, things don't change around next year, I certainly think you're going to see them go after a manager who is more into sabermetrics. We also had a hiring today. The Washington Nationals have hired Cubs bench coach Dave Martinez to be their new manager. And Martinez will be a three-year deal. And Dave Martinez is a guy I think that uses sabermetrics. He's very comfortable with analytics, so that's maybe why he got hired over Joe Girardi. Speaking of Joe Girardi, the Yankees and Joe Girardi have parted ways. Pretty good chance they're going to hire from the inside. I think Rob Thompson, another guy who's into analytics, is certainly going to end up with that coaching vacancy. Now that leaves Joe Girardi possibly with the Phillies vacancy. And also, Chili Davis has been hired by the Chicago Cubs as next year's hitting coach. Matt Herges is going to be the Giants' bullpen coach next year, coming from the Dodgers organization. And I think he's into analytics, so that's another one who's going to help with the bullpen via analytics and hopefully can help the righty-lefty matchups and whatnot. It looks like it's going to be Gabe Kapler, John Farrell. Oh, yeah, wrong one. It looks like Dusty Wathan might become the new manager, which it may not be the next. And he's over in Double-A Reading for Philadelphia, so we'll see what happens there. But we don't know who's left in the and there's rumors that the Giants are interested in Giancarlo Stanton. As much as everybody wants Giancarlo Stanton with the Giants, I'm not crazy about it money-wise. It really handcuffs you to what you can get talent-wise for other players. And this is not going to be the year to be spending money. You might want to wait maybe till 2019 when Hunter Pence is off the books and Denard Span is before you go after somebody big. I think maybe Cameron Maybin might be your best bet for outfield help this year to bridge the gap until 2019. But they have still no hirings yet for hitting coach or pitching coach. And let's see how the youngsters are trending right now in Fall League, with Arizona Fall League wrapping up in 2 weeks. And Giants prospect Ramos Garcia hitting 296. I think expect this kid to be in Sacramento next year. He certainly maybe could battle Trevor Brown for a roster spot in Sacramento in spring training next year. Steven Dugar is not doing too well in the Fall League this year. Hopefully he does better. Chris Shaw only hitting a .158. Hopefully things will do better for them in AAA next year. DJ Snelton still has looked very good for the. I think DJ Snelton's definitely a guy that now could be battling for a roster spot here in next year's spring training. Yohan Gregorio, not that wonderful ERA, might need another year in AAA. Tyler Beatty, not having a good fall league thus far. Still just coming off of injury, so hopefully Beatty does well in the last couple of weeks here as fall league wraps up and we head into the winter meetings. And we should have more off-season news now that we're heading into Game 5 of the World Series tonight between the LA Dodgers and the Houston Astros. Now on to NFLs. Today the San Francisco 49ers lost badly to the Philadelphia Eagles 33-10. CJ Beathard, passer rating of 44 today. But also he also unfortunately just did not have any help on the O-line. And I think that's certainly going to be a bigger issue for John Lynch to address in next year's draft over a QB is that offensive line. No QB would be able to survive with the Niners' current offensive line at this point. Half the game, CJ Beathard was running for his life. His numbers were okay, 17 for 36. And then Carlos Hyde was not good today, 2.1 yards per carry. Average, only 12 carries, 25 yards. And Carson Wentz, 2 touchdowns. And also Eric Reed moved to linebacker, which I kind of thought was a head-scratching move for the San Francisco 49ers. There we go. But yeah, I didn't. It's not crazy about it. And unfortunately, Beathard had 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Not good when Matt Breida is your leading receiver. Pierre Garcon left the game with a neck injury. We don't know if he'll be back for next week's game against the Arizona Cardinals. Bradley Pinion didn't have too bad of a day punting-wise. And then Philly blocked a Robbie Gould field goal attempt today. But also just the defensive units banged up. A lot of injuries right now in the Niners. So, but everybody's talking about maybe Niners needing Josh Rosen for the draft next year. No, I think drafting for O-line is going to be a bigger priority, in my opinion, than going for a quarterback in next year's draft. You can't expect a quarterback to succeed without a physical offensive line, and it also helps to create balanced football. I think the Giants' roadmap should be to trade down and draft offensive line and add some O-line and free agency. Then there's other holes on defense that could be addressed through the draft this year. You've got safeties, maybe get a cornerback. Like I certainly think it's not on Beathard. I think I give Beathard another year before drafting a quarterback, so to say. So, and then everybody else kind of starting to get rid of Kyle Shanahan and stuff. Just maybe, if anything, Saleh should go to the booth and coordinate from there. And maybe next year, Kyle Shanahan should consider bringing in a deep offensive coordinator and give up the play calling. We shall see what happens with that. But this team's a mess. It's still just trying to get rid of a lot of the bad picks Trent Baalke made. So this is going to be a tough process for the Niners, and give it another year. Even if the Niners were to go 0-16, Kyle Shanahan will not get fired. There's just no talent on this team. It's going to take a couple years to rebuild this team. Maybe next year we'll start getting some wins. Hopefully but if we get better O-line, I certainly think the win total will start climbing. Will start going the right way for the Niners and start catching all the breaks. Whereas the shoe is on the other foot today for the Oakland Raiders. The Raiders laid an egg today over in Buffalo, 34-14. And Todd Downing has to be on the hot seat over there in Oakland at this moment. Derek Carr, the good out of him, 31 for 49, 313 yards passing. The bad part is that Derek Carr threw for 2 interceptions today. And the run game was AWOL today without beast mode. And Amari Cooper, 5 receptions for 48 yards. The old Amari Cooper showed up today, unfortunately. And you can't win when your defense is giving up 151 yards rushing. That's just not good at all. LaShawn McCoy ran for 151 yards. Tyrod Taylor, 20 for 27 with 1 touchdown. And also Marquette King just did not have a good day punting for the Oakland Raiders, so it was not good either for either team in the Bay Area today. And I think for the Raiders, they may need to take a look at adding a running back through next year's draft. Let's go to other scores around the league, or around the NFL today. The Vikings beat the Browns 33-16 in London, and the Browns have announced they are not going to make a mid-season coaching change despite being 0-8. The Bengals beat the Colts 24-23. The Patriots beat the Chargers 21-13. The Saints beat the Bears 20-12. The Falcons beat the Jets 25-20. The Panthers beat the Buccaneers 17-3, and on Thursday the Ravens blanked the Dolphins 40-0. And games currently in progress. The Sea Chickens are leading the Texans 27-24. The Cowshits are leading the Redskins 20-13. Later tonight, the Steelers play the Lions, and on tomorrow night, the Broncos play the Chiefs. Next week, the Niners play a Cardinals team who is going to be without Carson Palmer. I certainly think this might be the best opportunity for the Niners to get a win. The defense has played well enough, and I think that if they play well enough in the next game and catch some breaks on offense, I certainly think the Niners are going to get their first win next week. It'll probably be something like 20-17 or something like that, but I think the Niners get their first win next week, and that's going to change the tone in the locker room. Hopefully that will be it. Let's go to the current standings in the NFL. Now we're reaching the halfway point of this year's NFL season. In the AFC East, the New England Patriots would win the East at this point, and Buffalo and Miami would likely be your 2 wild cards at this moment. Pittsburgh in control of the AFC North, Baltimore 4-4, and the only other winless team is Cleveland at 0-8, 3-4 for the Bungles. Jacksonville and Tennessee tied at first in the AFC South at 4-3. Tennessee trying to fight for the wild card, and the Texans are trying to fight for it too. The Chiefs lead the AFC West at 5-2, 3-5, 3-5 for the LA Chargers and Oakland Raiders. Denver 3-3. In the NFC East, the Eagles are now 7-1 and look like a playoff team, with Dallas and Washington fighting for wild card rights at this point. New York pretty much done. Chicago falls to 3-5. Minnesota would win the NFC North, and I think Green Bay would be a wild card at this moment. The Saints are 5-2 and would win the NFC South. Who dat is back? The Panthers are 5-3, would be a wild card at this moment. And the LA Rams would win the NFC West. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. I will be back next Sunday with more Kruk and Kuip Extra Innings, NFL edition. So everybody keep it red, keep it gold. Goodbye.